You came close twice in Cleveland in 2015, I think 6 2/3 innings. What does this mean to you to have finished it off and gotten a no-hitter?
I guess I don't really look at it as, being close and then it means more to get one. Really, I just think it was a lot of fun. I think it was a special night. But I've never been part of one, witness one, let alone throw one. So, I think, I guess more than anything, just a lot of fun to be a part of.
Thank you, Corey.
We go next to Marley Rivera.
Hi, Corey. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Corey, this may sound a little silly, but at what point did you realize that you had a no-hitter going?
I think I was aware of it, just part of, pitching and stuff. You're aware of what's going on, but probably didn't really start thinking about it until maybe after the 6th. I think at that point we had gotten a couple runs. So, obviously you get the couple run cushion. It makes it a little bit easier to kind of pound the strike zone and know that you got that run support, in your back pocket. But, even thinking about it, being aware of it, I don't think until that last inning, I ever kind of, I don't want to say like let it affect the way I pitched, because I don't think that we really changed the way we went about it, but I don't think I was, like all in on it, I guess, until the last inning maybe.
And Corey, how important was Kyle in this accomplishment that you've had today? And pitchers always get something really nice for their catcher. So are you thinking about it?
Yeah, I'll have to think of something for sure. I don't know what it'll be yet, but I'll definitely have to think of something. But yeah, I mean, he was unreal back there tonight. I think that the way that he goes about calling a game, I feel like the way we see things, think about things, it kind of makes sense to each other. I think tonight especially, I feel like when they were geared up for a fastball, he was on it. When they were looking off speed, he was on it. I feel like he just had a really good feel of what they were trying to do, and then, called a great game back there.
We can go next to Brendan Cuddy.
Corey, we all know that you're not someone who shows a ton of emotion. 9th inning, though, are you freaking out internally?
I wouldn't say freaking out. I mean, I definitely think that, I had to take a breath after the warm-ups and calm myself down a little bit. I probably would compare it to kind of the feeling before maybe the first playoff start. Just you got, heart beating faster, some adrenaline going, things like that. So in that sense, maybe it was helpful that, I've kind of felt that before and kind of had that to go back on to sort of, know what to do in that situation to kind of get myself to relax a little bit.
And could you just take us through the emotion of that last ground ball, that last out, embracing Kyle?
Not really sure. I do remember after Luke caught it, I just remember my first, reaction was to find Higgy. But from that point on, couldn't really tell you.
We can go next to Brian Hoke.
Hey, Corey, we saw some photos from the clubhouse. The celebration looks like you got a beer shower in there. Just what was going on behind the scenes, and what was that whole kind of party like for you?
I think just, again, a lot of fun. It's not all that often, I guess, so you get to be a part of something like that. And so I think, I think that for the other guys to say how much it meant to them to be a part of it was definitely something that was special to me. I think that it'll go down as a no-hitter in my name, but, obviously it takes the entire team to accomplish something like that. So, I think everybody was just celebrating that.
Thank you.
We can go next to John Schwartz.
Hey, Corey, you start off with the 2 strikeouts looking right there. I mean, is that something where when you have that working kind of when you're able to hit the corners in the way that you were there, is that just something that you can kind of play with for the rest of the game?
Not really, because I didn't execute either of those pitches, where we were trying to. We were trying to go away with the changeup to Willie, and I yanked it inside to him, and then so likely trying to go down away with a breaking ball, and I kind of accidentally front doored him with it. So no, not really. I mean, I think that more than anything, just trying to, after that first inning, reel in those misses a little bit.
Thank you.
We go next to Lindsay Adler.
Hey, Corey, was your family able to be here tonight?
No, but my wife was watching. Well, didn't like to watch too much, but she turned it on in the last inning to watch the end of it. So,
what did something feel different with your breaking ball tonight in terms of getting in for strikes? What was working with that pitch specifically?
I don't think there's anything different about it. I think that I've probably been getting more and more comfortable with it as far as when throwing the right one when I want to land it for a strike, the right one when I want to try to get a swing on it, the right one when I want to get a chase on it, that sort of stuff. Not saying that I execute every one the way I want to, talking about that one in the first inning, but I think just on a more consistent basis, kind of throwing it where and the way that I want to the last few starts.
We go next to Meredith Marakovitz.
Hey, Corey, when you look at this outing as a whole, do you look back at that third inning and ask yourself, what if at all with the walk?
No, I don't really do too much with what ifs. Obviously, I would have liked to not walk a guy on 4 straight pitches. That being said, I think at that point in the game, it's still nothing. So my thoughts after that walk were, to try to get out of the inning without allowing a run and try to get back in the dugout and let the offense go do their thing.
We go next to Tom Merriam.
Congratulations, Corey.
Thank you.
Was pitching a no-hitter a goal of yours once you made it to the big leagues?
No, no, I don't. I'm not really sure if anybody has a goal of throwing a no-hitter. It's such a rare thing to do. It's never really been something that I set out to do on a single day or, a goal at the beginning of the season or anything like that.
We can go next to Dan Martin.
Corey, the ball to right field that Tyler chased down. What was your thought coming off the bat?
Yeah, that was one of the few that I was kind of, when they hit it, kind of not worried, but kind of wondering, if it was going to fall in for a hit. But I think that Wade obviously is not an outfielder by trait, so to track that ball down, I think he made a good play on another one earlier in the game. The fact that he's not an outfielder makes those plays more impressive. I kind of had a good view of it to see his closing speed, which was pretty impressive.
Was there a play where you really thought you might be in trouble?
I think that anytime, whether it's tonight or any game, a ball's put in play, your reaction is to kind of turn around and see if somebody's there, things like that. That one, obviously, I think the ball that Culberson hit up the middle, that DJ was right there. And then I think it might have been the inning before when Davis hit that ground ball to third base. Just not sure of the positioning where guys are at and things like that, but definitely relief to turn around and see guys right there.
Thanks.
We can go next to Ron Blum.
Hey, Corey, do you think this means anything different to you now than it would have been before the 2 years of injuries?
I guess that's hard to say. I think I would appreciate it regardless of when it was. I think if we're gonna get sentimental, I think it was probably cool for me personally that it happened here. I hadn't thought about it until after the game. Robbie Trinos came up to me and said, congratulations, a lot better than the last time you were on the mound here, which I thought about at that point in time. But just I guess if anything, maybe that.
Congratulations. Thank you.
We can go next to Bob Clappish.
Hi, Corey. Hickey was saying before that you had basically command of all your pitches and you could dot the corners of the strike zone whenever you wanted. Can you describe what it's like as a pitcher to be able to control hitters' bat speed, win every at bat just about, and do whatever you want with the ball? It's obviously what pitchers dream about.
Yeah, I think that's the goal every time out. Not really attainable every time out, but I think I would go back to the job that Higgy did back there. You know, as much as anything, kind of with what I had tonight, the stuff that was working, maybe stuff that wasn't quite working as well early on. Kind of identifying that and then also identifying what they were trying to do and having a feel for certain counts and certain pitches. You know, what would work best to their hitters and stuff. I think relying on tonight made it definitely easier.
Ken Davidoff, please unmute.
Corey, congratulations. So Robinson Trinos was at the game. He was with you guys.
Yeah, I think they brought him for the taxi squad, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, okay. And then a little tangential to what Ron Blum asked you. So, I mean, did the last 2 years go through your head either during or as you got the last out or after, before Trinos said something?
No. I think at that point in time, kind of in the zone of pitching and really just trying to focus on each hitter, each pitch, not really reflecting on anything at that point in time, but just trying to go out there and, execute, pitch by pitch, because that was what had gotten me to that point thus far. So just trying to continue with that.
Thank you.
Bruce Beck, please unmute.
Hey, Corey, congratulations. Your teammates were really excited for you at the end of the ball game. How special is that, considering that you're a first-year Yankee?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like I mentioned earlier, just to see their excitement and, for them to voice how much or how special it was, for them to be a part of it, it meant a lot to me. And I think that, anytime you can see a teammate accomplish something is special, but it's definitely a group of guys that I'm proud to do this with.
Thank you.
We can take a couple more. We're running close time with the bus, so we can go to Tyler Kepner.
Yeah, Corey, congratulations again. You've only been here, for a few months, but it's kind of amazing with all the great pitchers the Yankees have had. This is their first no-hitter since 1999. Has that kind of sunk in for you? And even though there's been a lot of no-hitters this season in MLB, does it kind of strike you as pretty cool that no Yankee's done it this century?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's definitely been some great pitchers in this organization. I don't think that the fact that they haven't thrown a hitter since, I think you said 99, makes that, makes those guys' accomplishments any less or anything like that. I think that there's a lot of variables that go into, throwing a no-hitter. I think that there's guys who go out there with unbelievable stuff certain nights, and they probably are able to, and it might be something like a broken bat, loop falling or things like that. I think there's a lot of things that have to go your way. So I guess, it's definitely cool to do it in this uniform. I don't want to take away from that at all.
We can take a final one from Brendan Cuddy.
Corey, you mentioned how special it was post-game to hear from some of your teammates tonight. Could you describe that scene and what it's like? You come into the clubhouse, guys get up and start talking. Could you explain what that was like in the scene there?
I mean, I think we all realize how difficult it is to win a big league ball game. So, we celebrate that every night that we win a game. I think that just maybe a little bit more so tonight than normal.